Imagine how cool would it be to study one single degree and get access to numerous career opportunities. You could choose to become a director, producer, filmmaker, radio jockey, TV anchor, and all you'll have to do is study mass communication. Hello and welcome. Today on Heads Up, we'll find out how to kickstart a career in the world of media and communication.
I was just 7 when I did my first ODT competition, and I remember how I used to watch those TV anchors and journalists on the screen. Ever since then, I've grown up with a fascination for the media careers, and I think I can just wait to be a journalist myself someday.
Meet Tanya Talwar, an 8th grader from Amity International School, Delhi. Confident and buzzing with energy and enthusiasm, Tanya aspires to become a journalist someday.
I've literally been spending 2 to 3 hours every day to work upon my oratory skills. I also make sure that I'm reading and writing along to enhance my vocabulary.
A broad field of study, mass communication includes TV and print journalism, radio broadcasting, advertising and PR, and the more recent online journalism. Speaking skills and writing skills come naturally to Tanya and are also skills necessary for both print and TV journalism.
Tanya is among a million young Indians who aspire for a media career. But what is it that really attracts them to this field? Let's find out.
From writing stories for newspapers and websites, to live reporting and anchoring for TV, or spending countless hours of talking and entertaining over the radio, media professionals are on their toes most of the time. Despite being a demanding job, a media career is still highly sought after, evident in industry surveys and reports.
If you look at the projections, it's a 13.9% projection, an annual average we are looking at. And by 2019, say in another 3 years' time, we are looking at 1,964 billion as against 1,026 billion in 2014. That's amazing, you see. And I think that this growth has got to do with the increasing purchasing power of the middle class, the growing income. We have been able to maintain the economic growth. There is an aspirational, group coming up fast in our small centers, in our small urban centers, in our rural areas.
Education in media and communication has also seen a rigorous transformation in the last 2 decades. Mass communication today has evolved into a specialized field, expanding boundaries beyond journalism into areas like radio broadcasting and advertising and PR, among others. Talk about popularity, and mass communication tops the charts, with the course attracting thousands of students every year with diverse educational backgrounds.
Now, I've been seeing, new media institutions mushrooming all over. So there is almost every university, every private university, every media institute, every new even management institutes are offering media related courses. In fact, I see a lot of newspapers and television channels opening up their own institutes. That shows the growing demand. That's a reflection of the growing demand. And even, you see, on an average for my institution, we receive on an average say around 5,000 applications for about 410 seats across the country.
Mass comm courses in India are offered at undergraduate and postgraduate levels as both a degree and a diploma. The eligibility criteria for admissions may vary according to the college of your choice, but a minimum qualification of 10+2 stays compulsory. The course includes a study of topics like journalism, broadcasting, advertising and public relations, among others. While classroom training equips students with an in-depth knowledge of these topics, internships, on the other hand, ensure a necessary industry exposure.
They get a hands-on training during the internship. They learn the nitty-gritties and the important component of working in the field. They learn how to report, they learn how to do good stories, and when they're associated with some senior journalists, they learn the trick of the trade.
Good communication skills, including speaking and writing well, along with critical thinking, are some of the must-have skills for a mass communication student. Mass communication careers can be exciting and challenging at the same time and are also known to be diverse. From working in television space to radio or print or even online, Mass Comm students find a variety of career options to choose from. With Richa Sujatia, Sharon Alex, NDTV.
So we are here at the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, New Delhi, and with me a couple of students, all Mass Comm students, and they will share with us their experiences. So you earlier told us that you were an engineering graduate and now you're doing Mass Comm. Why leave engineering?
I feel that this is the only profession where you get to know more about the world, and this is the only thing that if you do down the line in 20 years and then you find that most of the things in the world you cover. So this was that appealed me always, and then I thought I should pursue it.
And you are an engineering dropout, like it's so interesting that you sort of, leave other careers and come into mass communication. So what is the kind of exposure that you've seen, which you did not get there and now in mass communication?
Well, it was a bold move. It was a difficult decision to take, but then, this is one profession where you are bombarded with so many new ideas, new perspectives of looking at things. If I'm looking at something, I would not analyze it the way I do now.
Right.
I never did that,
Yeah.
So it really exposes you to a lot of new information, new perspectives, how you can perceive things.
So as a mass comm student, we work a lot with our language skills and communication skills. How do you sort of keep yourself upbeat with, all of this? Like, it's such a struggle to write well and to speak well without flaws. How do we keep ourselves good with that?
I think just keep reading, because you kind of pick up on it, grows onto you. I mean, you can't read enough. You have to watch shows and you sort of pick from there. I mean,
Right.
there's no alternative to reading.
Right. So you say that writing and reading is the only option to keep
Yeah,
yourself...
totally.
Right. Also, I want to ask to you, what do you think is the role of internship? From a student's perspective, how important do you think are internships, and how do you sort of find good internships?
There is a major role of internship in your profession ahead, because in internship you learn how to go ahead with things, and then in professional atmosphere, this is a classroom course. Then when you step down in a professional field, then you understand what is the need and demand of the market from you.
Right.
So, and about doing a good internship, I would say one should also keep focused on what is going down in the market. New media is coming, so where else apart from print or our radio and television he can go.
Right.
So he should be vigilant in things, and then he should apply as many places as he can.
So to quickly wrap up this chat, my last question to you is, if you had to motivate somebody to join mass communication, what would you say to them?
See, above everything else, you gain a perspective, and mass communication, it just offers you different mediums to, let that perspective out in the world. So that's the only thing I'd like.
Would you like to say something? Add on
Basically, if you want to join mass communication, the first thing is that you must be ready to learn every day. You cannot, in this field, you cannot afford to say that I will not read today, I will not read the newspaper today, or I will not watch the news.
Well, that was a lot of valuable information from these students here at IIMC.
सुपर हिट्स 93.5 रेड एफएम पर मैं हूं आपके साथ हिना। मिडनाइट मसाला सुन रहे हैं आप? यस, हाय, मैं हूं आरजे हिना और यू लिसन टू मी एवरी नाइट 9 PM फ्रॉम मंडे टू फ्राइडे ऑन सुपर हिट्स 93.5 रेड एफएम एंड द शो नेम इज मिडनाइट मसाला. I consider myself the masala queen of Delhi. I know it's a very big statement because whenever you are alone in the studio, that too 9 o'clock in the evening, you have the power, you have the microphone, and you are a Delhi ki ladki. I've done my radio jockeying from Indian Institute of Mass Communication, and yes, I owe a lot to the institute because I am a BCom graduate. I never thought I'll be doing a show like this, that too in the capital city, but yes, I am doing it. Well, I come to office at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm a lazy girl, but not only lazy, I'm hardworking also. So it isn't like that I have my show at 9 o'clock in the evening, so I'll reach office at 8:30. That's a part-time job. No, we work really hard for the show, and yes, I come to office by 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we plan the show, we have the team. I'm not the only one, who's doing the whole show. One thing that I often face is, you can't sound fresh every time, but that's one challenge and you have to overcome it, because people, they don't listen to you if you are, if you're pareshan or something like that. They don't want to listen to you. If you're bubbly, if you have something interesting to tell them, if you're attractive and you have that punch in you, then they want to listen to you. And people are so updated, they know each and everything, they are aware of everything, so you have to be on your toes every time. I think good voice is very much important to be an RJ. Plus you should be responsible. If you have good voice, you should be responsible. You just cannot say anything on the microphone. You should sound responsible. You should not hurt anybody's sentiments. You should be witty, and you should have a good pronunciation. Holding the language is one important thing. Personal connect is much important, because people call me because they know I connect to them. They know she will understand me. She will, try to resolve my problems. So you should have that personal connect with the listeners. Spontaneity, zulmi ye hazir jawabi hogi, that's very important, because you get a lot of calls, और वहाँ पे you have to tackle them. Well, I think if you don't want to be a radio jockey, you can be, if you're good at writing, you can be a copywriter. And if you have a good taste of music, you can be a music producer. You can be a sound engineer, and you can be a show producer. Well, I'll say just be yourself, be original, because if you'll try to copy somebody, that'll be for, I guess, maximum 1 week. Apni originality aa hi jati hai. So I guess just be original, relaxed, and people will love you the way you are.
It's time for us to slip into a short break. We'll be right back with lots more on mass communication careers. Welcome back. Today on Heads Up, we are looking at mass communication careers, and we have with us filmmaker, photographer, columnist and musician Vandana Kohli. She is an FTII pass out and a UCLA graduate. Welcome to the show, Vandana.
Thank you.
Vandana, why don't you tell us how you started off with filmmaking? Was it your first choice always and a passion, or how did you get into it?
I don't think filmmaking was like a first choice for me. I don't think I thought of it when I was a kid at all, in fact, that I will be a filmmaker one day.
Yeah.
Because when I was in school, I thought I'll be an IS officer or an IPS officer, really. And when I was in college, I studied history. I loved history.
Yeah.
But what I found was that I had interests in different things, so music is a passion, was a passion. Art, when I was a child, I used to paint. And what started it off for us was that my brother and I, at that time, Doordarshan was the only channel. This is 1990, when I was in college. We got an opportunity to start doing programs for Doordarshan, to anchor, as you're anchoring right now. So we started by anchoring a youth program called Youth Forum.
And how do you think has the industry evolved? What it was like when you started and what it is like today?
Well, that's a very, very wide question, because the industry has changed a lot, and we all know that since the internet and since technology has burst in our faces, for good and for not so good also, I think that everything has changed very dramatically.
You're also a passer from one of the most coveted institutes in the country, FTII. How much of education back in college, you think has helped you in being what you are today? Because photography and filmmaking is a lot about what you do with your camera, instead of what you're learning in the classroom. So what role has education played for you?
If you're talking about film education, I think it becomes very, very important to have some kind of formal training in any profession that you want to seriously pursue.
Right.
That doesn't mean that if you don't have the passion and you can't do it on your own. I'm not saying that. Today with the internet, you can do anything on your own. But what happens is when you go to, when you have that professional input, when you have academic input, you realize, oh, I didn't even know this exists. So when you go to school, film school for instance, when I went to film school, I realized that I didn't even know that I need to consider all these factors for film.
Also, what do you think about education in India, as far as filmmaking is considered? Do you think there's something, a sort of lacune which we can fix, or maybe there's scope of improvement in the way we are imparting education in filmmaking today?
Yes, I think there's a lot of scope to fix things, because I find that there are those few institutes which are good, And then there are many which mushroomed up in the last 10-15 years, which claim to do media courses but may not necessarily have be giving that kind of input, that good input. And there's a reason for that to my mind, because when they came up because there was a need. The media had suddenly opened up. But it didn't mean that we necessarily had the trained amount of people to run those courses. Now there may be more people who have that kind of experience to teach. So I think now the focus has to go more towards content.
Well, then in a couple of years from now, let's say 5 years down the line, how do you see the career scope in filmmaking evolving? Do you think that there will be more jobs? Also a possible change in the way we are doing films today?
I think it's getting more and more difficult for you to sustain yourself as a filmmaker. You have to be very serious. If you're coming into the profession because, or you think that you want to be a filmmaker because it's a very nice thing to say, I'm a filmmaker and I'm making films, that you need to be very careful about, because as in anything else, it's a lot of hard work.
Why would you say that it's going to be more difficult?
Because it's getting, we have opened up to the rest of the world. So if you truly want to be a filmmaker today, you have to, and sustain yourself as a filmmaker, whether it's documentary, whether it's shorter films, whether it's even features, you have to be aware of both the technical standards that are required all across the world, because nothing is isolated now.
Of course. But then I have one last question before we wrap up this chat. Photography and filmmaking are one of a kind fields that really require a lot of creativity, and you might come across a number of disappointments before you strike gold. How do you sort of deal with that? And why do you think, despite of all the sort of negatives, or you can say setbacks that come along in this field, somebody should still pursue this career?
I think you have to take up something and make it a career because you love it.
Right.
Or you find an opportunity that comes your way which you can leverage, or you do both. So in that sense, I think it is important to bear in mind that filmmaking is difficult if you have a family to support.
That was a lot of valuable information from Vandana, and Vandana, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
One of the most popular mass communication careers today is that of public relations. Now, PR, as the name suggests, is all about developing and maintaining relationships with your stakeholders. That can include government agencies, NGOs and media firms, among others. But before you choose to take it up as your career, here's some valuable information that might come in handy.
Among the career opportunities that open up post in education and mass communication is a public relations career. PR or public relations is all about communicating, developing and maintaining relationships on behalf of your clients. According to reports, the public relations industry in India is growing at the rate of 32% every year, while education in public relations has also witnessed an upswing. Nearly 5,000 students enroll for a PR course every year.
In the last almost 20-25 years have been very defining for the profession of public relations, especially since there's a liberalization in this country. A whole sort of PR culture came because the multinationals came, the global companies came, and they brought along with them the PR culture. And I would call it a sunshine profession. Today, just 1 year's program, I think I had 85 to 90% placement in public relations. And almost everybody has got a job, I have 70 students this year. Everybody who opted for PR has a job in hand.
Apart from being offered at management institutes and polytechnics across the country, public relations courses are also offered as a specialization at mass communication institutes. The course curriculum includes project management, branding, marketing and consumer psychology, among other areas of study.
At IMC we have a PGD which has two segments, advertising and public relations. So PR again is divided into two. One is the conceptual, concepts, principles and theories. The other is the digital, public relations and corporate communication. And the other peripheral subjects which support it, which are media planning, communication theory, graphics, art, television, research, etc. So almost 6 papers support PR and CorpCom.
Good communication and writing skills, along with research skills and creativity, are some of the most important skills for a PR specialist. Key responsibilities include organizing events, creating, managing and implementing PR campaigns, liaising with media, researching and writing press releases, among others.
Most of the jobs in fact come from the public relations consultancies and agencies. then the corporate sector, the NGO sector, the United Nations. I mean, the jobs across the public sector, private sector. I mean, I have more jobs than I have students. And they not only look at the PR students, they also look at journalism students.
For freshers, an industry average annual salary of 4 to 5 lakhs is where the career usually starts. However, with time and experience, the salaries can go up to as high as 10 to 15 lakhs per annum. With Richa Sojathia and camera person Rakesh, Abhishek Singh for NDTV.
Catch the heads-up episodes you might have missed during the week at these times only on NDTV Prime.